Hi, welcome to IPR Academy. This session is on fundamentals of intellectual property. First, what is the meaning of intellectual property? Intellectual property protects products of the mind or intellect. In other words, intellectual property protects ideas. However, intellectual property does not protect all kinds of ideas. It only protects ideas which are concrete or which are expressed. An idea which is in the mind of an individual or an idea which is an abstract idea where the individual is not clear about how to implement such an idea cannot be protected by intellectual property. Now, what do you get if you get intellectual property protection? Intellectual property grants or intellectual property protection grants exclusive rights for a limited period of time. Now, exclusive rights are rights that you and only you can exercise. If somebody else wants to exercise any of these rights, they'll have to take your permission. And these exclusive rights are for a limited period of time. Intellectual property protection does not last forever. In most forms of intellectual property, once the limited period of protection expires, the property becomes public property and any person can utilize the idea that is protected by such intellectual property for any purpose without any kind of permission. In other words, this intellectual property falls into the public domain. Let's say, for example, Winnie invents an automobile that can travel on land, water, and air. And she comes up with a stepwise mechanism of making such an automobile. In such a scenario, she can get intellectual property protection over her automobile. However, if she comes up with an idea of making such an automobile but does not really know how to make it, then she cannot get intellectual property protection because then it becomes an abstract idea. What does Winnie get if she gets intellectual property protection over her automobile? She gets the right to make, right to sell, right to use, right to offer for sale, and right to import that automobile. In other words, if somebody else wants to make this automobile or sell this automobile, then they'll have to take Winnie's permission. Now, an idea can be expressed in many ways, or an idea can manifest in many ways. An idea can manifest as a book or music. An idea can manifest in the form of an invention, or an idea can also manifest in the form of a new design. Now, depending on the way in which an idea manifests, there are different forms of intellectual property that protect such an idea. If an idea manifests as a book, then you get what is called as copyright protection. On the other hand, if your idea manifests in the form of an automobile, like that of Winnie, then you get what is called as patent protection. Each of these forms of intellectual property have different kinds of rights, different term associated with them. You can see on your screen that there are various forms of intellectual property listed here, like patents, copyrights, trademarks, trade secrets, industrial designs, plant varieties, and so on. We will, however, not be discussing all these in this session. We'll leave the discussion about different forms of intellectual property to future sessions. What we will do in this session is we'll very quickly try to understand the difference in protection afforded by different forms of intellectual property with the help of this table. Now, this table clearly shows the type of intellectual property, what it protects, and the term for which such protection is granted. For example, as you can see in the table, copyright protects works of authorship such as literary works, dramatic works, artistic works, musical works, and so on. And the general term of copyright is life plus 60 years. A patent, as you can see in the table, protects inventions, and the term of protection for patents is around 20 years. Then moving on, a trademark protects representations used in business, and the term of protection for a trademark is unlimited, it's perpetual. Trade secrets protects any information that is maintained confidential, and once again the term of protection is perpetual. You can see here that each form of intellectual property protects different kinds of works or different kinds of creations and inventions. and their term is also variable. While copyright is lifeless 60 years, patent is only 20 years. On the other hand, trademarks and trade secrets have a perpetual term. So, in all cases, all forms of intellectual property do not actually have only a limited term. There are exceptions such as trademarks, trade secrets, and so on. Now, how is intellectual property applicable in a business scenario? In a business scenario, it is not only one form of intellectual property that is used to protect a specific product or a service uh, launched by a business or a company. Generally, a single product has multiple facets, and each one of these facets is protected by different forms of IP. For example, if a company makes cell phones, the name of the cell phone can be protected as a patent. The name of the cell phone can be protected as a trademark. And the invention of the cell phone itself can be protected as a patent. Then any material that is supplied along with the cell phone, like a catalog and so on, can be protected as a copyright. The process of making such cell phone, if it is maintained confidential, can be protected as a trade secret. So, as you can see here, there are different forms of IP which go on to protect a single product, and these protect different facets of the same product. So, the kind of protection that is adopted by businesses is integration of different forms of IP into a product to protect its multiple facets. Okay, with that, we come to the conclusion of this lecture. In the next few lectures, we'll learn about each one of these different forms of IP and what they protect. If you have any questions, comments, or observations, please feel free to write to us. You can write to us at contact@ipracademy.com. We look forward to receiving your feedback on this lecture. Thanks for listening to this video and enjoy.